guys. Hello. Hi. I think there's lag. So, okay. Guys. Hello. Hi. I think there's lag. So, okay. Guys. Hello. Hi. I think there's lag.
Am I audible?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, fantastic!
Am
I
I
can hear you. Hey, Kayesh.
Hey guys.
Hey,
Mike.
Kayesh. Good to meet you guys.
Hi. Yeah, finally. I
Hi.
think there was technical issue. So, okay, since we're all here, I think waiting for someone.
I think it's Michael. Yeah, Michael's
Okay,
here.
so we have Michael here. So, first of all, thank you everyone
Okay.
for joining in. And this is a session with respect to Global Metaverse Carnival. And today we have an amazing set of panel. We're going to talk about obviously Web3. We're going to talk about gamified technology, Web3. Obviously, when it comes to the Web3, there are a lot of different topics that we're going to touch on today. Main one being decentralization, blockchain technology, and just metaverse in general. First of all, I would introduce you all to our amazing panelists. So we have Mick Mironov, who is the founder of RBL Labs. That's a project that deals with the gamified technology directly. So thank you so much, Mick, for joining us. We have Kayash Singh, who is the VP Growth and International Business when it comes to OneWare. So that's something, a project that deals with the food metaverse. And then we have Michael Missel, who is the co-founder and CEO of the Pillar Project. Okay, so thank you all for joining in. It's such an interesting and diverse panel. So yeah, first of all, where are you guys tuning in from? Maybe we can start from there.
I'm joining from Amsterdam, so Rebel Labs, Web3 gaming studio, with distributed team, but our headquarters in Amsterdam.
Amazing.
Uh,
What about you, Flash?
Headquarters in Dubai, but most of our team is based out of India.
Amazing. Okay, Michael. Can't hear you,
I,
Michael. Okay. I think, Michael, maybe just head over to your settings and see your audio if it's on the microphone. Is it just me or Michael is
we
not
can't hear.
audible? Yeah.
We can't hear.
How about now?
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
perfect.
at last. I've been struggling with the audio today. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm joining you guys from London. Yeah, Pillar
Oh,
Project is an infrastructure provider and crypto wallets and other further Web3 infrastructure. So we're a global team, a Swiss-based foundation, and a few of us are based in London.
amazing. So that's great to have. I think people from so many different places joining in today, and like all of you said, it's a diverse community. So obviously that's always amazing for me to be part of such panels. Let's start off with the first question, since obviously it's about Web3. So, Akash, do you want to start off and just speak a bit about what do you think? For in sense of the business landscape, like how do we transition from Web 2 to Web 3, or how will the Web 3 change the current Web 2 business landscape? Maybe you want to start.
Yeah, sure. So what we are trying to do is kind of like talk to people in a language that connects and people from anywhere around the globe. uh, and that's the language of food. So, and yes, I understand food cannot be had in the virtual space, but it is an easy format to connect into the real world. So you come, you enter a restaurant, that space has a gamification angle to it, and you kind of like get an NFT which can be redeemed at the restaurant for a real meal. So it is how we're going to evolutionize the space from getting web 2 to web 3 is trying to provide the user, the gamer, the end customer, an easy access to connect it to his real life, his or her real life. Uh, just another example is Step In. They took a really simple task of walking and incentivizing that and trying to let people earn by doing a normal activity. Food, in another way, is a normal activity that people do on a
Yeah.
daily day-to-day basis. So it's all about how you can connect your project to certain aspects that connect to users' daily access. It's like the toothbrush effect. It's how you need to brush your teeth twice a day, right? Your product should be used twice a day at least. Then it has relevance with the audiences. So it's all about getting real world utility into your product, and that's how Web 2 kind of like shifts to Web 3. That's the evolution, I feel.
That's so interesting, Kayash, what you just said, because obviously I think the first thing that we have to think about with any kind of product or service that we're building for the Web3, it has to be relevant and not just relevant for a small industry. So I think the first thing that you said, I think we're going to come back to this point. Before that, I'm just going to give bit of my own introduction as well here, because you know what you just said about the metaverse, because my own background has been with the fusion tech art. You know, I've been working with the space economy with Meta Visionaries as a co-founder, obviously, but also, you know, my work has been towards the digital fashion with Oshi Brownie, right? So why I'm saying this is you spoke about food, right? Food is a global concept. Anyone can relate with it. But at the same time, you spoke about relevance for so many different industries, right? So obviously, we're going to come back to it. But Mick, what do you think about this? And if you can relate it to your own work, so what do you think about is like the business landscape for in the Web3 for your industry or what you're targeting?
Just give me a sec. All right. Well, first of all, I actually thank so much for having us here, for having me here. To remind you guys, so Rebel Labs, we are an Amsterdam-based gaming studio, launched in 2021, and we are building the new generation of Web3 games with a focus on fun to play first principle, original IPs, and social core. And not only we're building games, but we are also having an edutainment platform, Crypto Rebel, with 100,000 subscribers, and also building a metaverse called Cryptice City. And what you've been just saying about food and like a core of our human being existence or existence of any animal, so to say. We've been contemplating the economics for our metaverse, having in mind principles, you know, like a famous saying in ancient Rome, give them food and entertainment. And that's what all people want, right? So food in our world and more digitized and interconnected comes obviously from your income sources. Whereas entertainment is getting more and more abundant, be it the first world, second world, third world. From laptops to smartphones, you get access to games and various entertainment avenues such as dating apps, neighborhood apps where you can connect and have your needs and a
Yeah.
modernized Maslow pyramid mean. So in our world in Cryptice, we do think of these two concepts, food and entertainment. So we are bridging food by means of monetizing creativity and time of our users. Not necessarily you need to be playing games, but we are building features such as date to earn, learn to earn. It may sound quite cliche because lots of people are doing that. Think from it from the perspective that our time is valuable, and so far, play to earn's been among the Web3 community. It became also a cliche, so to say. But really, what it really boils down to is putting the user, the player, the person who seeks love, connection into a driving seat. Your mine, everybody times is valuable, and we are really passionate. And our mission is actually to let people monetize their own time. So that relates to bread, food, and entertainment while having fun. So
Yeah.
in our world, people can use their creativity and skills to earn while having a good time.
No, that's so amazing what you just said. And I think the one thing that I love about what Kayash said, and then Mick, you also said, is the relevance, and then also taking it to the fact that the time is valuable. So keeping these two things in mind, Michael, what do you think is the business, and with the Web3, considering that time is valuable, and your work, which is about multi-chain DeFi ecosystem that you're building with the Pillar project. So how would you respond to this?
I mean, first of all, thank you for having us here, and thank you for the panelists as well. And for me, I take it back a little bit further, and that it's just the evolution of the web. Web one was about read only. They send you and you read. Web two was about read and write. You contribute as well. There's a lot of crowdsourcing. Web three is about read, write, and own. Now, ownership, it could be your data that you own, it could be your finances you own in terms of crypto. And not only that, through the DAOs and the constructs of Web3, your customers, your consumers are in a way your owners, your community as well. So it is kind of changing the paradigm for organizations where they had, okay, we've got a customer base, X amount of customers, and we push X amount of product to them. Now, through their DAOs, they can actually vote on what the product direction should be, vote on various other things. So this is moving the paradigm in terms of how the relationship goes between organizations and the consumers because of the communities. And these communities, again, are advertising
Yeah.
these companies because they've got a skin in the game. So I can see this paradigm shift. Our place in this is, as Pillar Project, we've got a product called EtherSport, which makes it easy to take that friction out in Web3. Because Web3, it is at the moment for technologists, by technologists effectively. It isn't the easiest thing to use. If you're not from the Web3 world, there are a lot of frictions. Just you have to know which wallet you're using, or which network am I connecting to. Do I have to pay gas on this one? Do I have to have the
Yeah.
native gas on this one? How do I do cross-chain? These are
So
all
many questions. Yeah.
frictions that, say, if a typical gamer goes in, they would be thinking, do I need to put up with this? Or, so what we're trying to do in here is, okay, so what do we do? You do not need to do this network switches anymore. You can actually use social logins. You can actually do not even need to use those mnemonic phrases, etc. So we integrate with other solution providers like game providers, etc., to give their user base a Web 2-like feel for the Web 3 services.
But also, Michael, like your work, and I read it on your website that you're governed by the DAO, and obviously we're at that phase where Metaverse is somehow the idea is established, although we haven't seen it taking much diverse forms as it could have. It's still in progress. So my question to you would be that how is the idea of DAO in your opinion, and also because you're working towards the wallets, you're talking about multi-chain DeFi experiences, how will that translate, or will that be interoperable? with the system of gamification, which I think which obviously Mick can talk more about, or Kayash can shed more light when it comes to the metaverse part. But what my question to you is, how will the wallets be integrated with the gamify? And if you can give your perspective on that.
I mean, that's the thing. Wallets by themselves, they are a friction point, because you use a certain wallet. Oh, I'm connecting to this EVM network or this other EVM network. I have to know what I'm doing, etc. So what we've done is, with this EtherSport product that we have, a gamer can join by logging in using their email address, where in the background they would have a
Okay.
wallet. And abstraction is the key. Abstracting these things, and when, say, for instance, a gamer on mixed platform needs to do a certain few transactions on the current Web3, they have to sign all of those. And again, that is a friction, asking the user to do so many things. So what we've done is, we've created a technology where all these things are abstracted away. A user clicks once and they do,
Okay.
because these things happen in the background for them, while
Mm-hmm.
still being decentralized and self-custodial. That's the key. Ownership
Okay.
of your content, ownership of the in-game assets. I don't know if I've
Okay.
answered your question at all.
Yeah. I think you have, because it's so interesting what you're doing. It's with a twist, and obviously you put your own ideas behind, which we will come back to it more. But Mike, Mick, I want to know from you, considering that your work with RBL Labs, it's all about the gamification, and you're working on, I think, 2 active projects at the moment. So maybe you can talk to us about it. How was it to get into it, where you are with it? So yeah, we will
All
love to
right.
know.
Oh, we can talk a lot about it, about our journey and the products we're building.
Yeah.
It's going to be a self promo, but you touch base on DAO, right? And DAO Web3, it's been such a hype, DAO in the context of Web3, and of course, like revamping our democracy. All right, let our community vote, let them be heard, and we are all working on these cool features. Or, like, for instance, ourselves. We are building an indie quest called I Know This Place. We showcased it at the Web Summit in Lisbon in November. And it was like the biggest hit. Our booth was the busiest
Wow.
among beta startups. People love the game. The idea that the community is going to decide, what's going to happen the next level. So you complete the quest, you open the door, and then like we provide communities with several options. They give feedback, but I mean, what really blows my mind is that we talk so much about DAOs, we talk so much about decentralization in Web3. However, folks in Web2, like it goes full steam, full on, like Netflix, for instance.
Yes.
um, they reportedly plan to expand their preview club. So gonna be letting the viewers to shape content. Well, they call it a content already, right? Movies, series, it's a content for them. They let them shape the content before it goes live. So, for instance, as far as I reckon, they let their viewers provide feedback on DiCaprio in Don't Look Up, right? So he needs to have more humor there, and this and that. So this is happening. I mean, like, and via Web2 sort of DAO structure. Yes, perhaps it's not transparent. You can't see like the transactions on blockchain, who voted, and like how much tokens they spent, and which smart contract it was. But the model is being pioneered already by like large tech companies. And we look at Reddit, a total of Web2 platforms. Hey, they've got NFTs going on, and they don't even call them NFTs, right? And they do have the voting and upvoting and so on and so forth. So yeah, I mean, it's DAO is amazing, and it's an amazing concept. And blockchain really fits in there, and transparency, and having it automated in a smart contract way. But we really First of all, we do need to speed up with our innovation, and we don't need to go. We don't need to go far to see like really good examples of what companies, like traditional companies, doing this space currently. So what we do, we are building a DAO indeed on a level of our metaverse. It's called Cryptized City. Why Cryptized, you might ask? It's our crypto city paradise. It's an island where you'll meet your favorite favorites from crypto pop culture. Be it an exchange listing manager or a Lambo owner or whoever, Whale, Satoshi, and so on and so forth. So, like the characters that we developed already 2 years ago for our collectible strategy card game, log game Legends of Crypto. So DAO plays a big role in there, and we do push narratives, of course. Like people love storytelling, and we love beautiful stories. So definitely DAO, definitely pioneering democracy, and we'd like to have several models of voting, including sort of mini anarchy, where we let like just like a one district where folks be able to decide on pretty much a lot of things. But first, we need to build the core, before deciding that. So we have metaverse. We are building several hyper casual games. Currently working on making it available in the Apple Store, Google Play, and of course, it's like a puzzle we need to solve here. How do you bring
And
it back
also make
free
so
with full?
are these games sorry, so are these games also available on Oculus? Like how does that work? Because obviously you're talking about gamify, you're talking about Web3. So obviously Oculus has its own market. Like how does that even work? And you talked about Netflix,
Correct.
because I read it that all the production companies are now thinking about gamification in like seriously, right? They understand that the consumer wants to be the owner of, and it wants to be in the power of the narrative and how it goes on, right? Because I'm, as a visual artist, I understand where the world is moving when it comes to narratives. The world of traditional art is gone. So that's where we are. Like this is the reality. Like people would not watch the films unless half of the film is actually fun to play, or play to earn whatever model you're talking about. It's incentivized, right? So yeah, do you want to
Mhm.
talk about that? Like is it just available for Google,
Mo-
or maybe
most-
our audience would like to
Mhm.
know? Yeah.
Right. That's a great question, and I hope our team is on this really suitable for Oculus. It's available to play on PC, and we are working towards bringing it into like a proper virtual reality because it's all 3D
Okay.
space. But
Mm-hmm.
guys, we are just like 1.5 year old, and we do have multi products, and we are focusing right now on one specific product to make it wonderful, brilliant, working across all the mobile platforms and on the web. And then we'll definitely be bringing our indie quest, which is a part of the metaverse. I know this place, not only to PC but Oculus. It's going to be available on Steam, by the way. And we just got amazing feedback from Sony, so very encouraging
Wow.
for our team who's been working on this title for a while.
Yeah, and I think that's the most exciting part, being able to collaborate with so many different people. Like you just said, we can have our ideals from the crypto world, from the metaverse. Like ideals can be there, right? And I will come back to this question with you and Kayash more, because even Kayash, I think, has been working with chefs, has been working with different restaurants. So I think talking about the collaborations when we talk about gamifying industry, and how does that fit in with the metaverse, that's so important, because so many new people who are into art, who are into production of any kind, they would like to know how does that framework actually works, because this is what the creators makes that industry going, right? Like if you see YouTube, how are they working, right? They have the creators, they incentivize them one way or the another, right? So Kayash, do you want to speak about your business model and who are the people you approach, and how does the collaboration work? Because food is a very tangible thing, but you have
Yep.
kind of made it intangible by making it the center of your business, and bringing people in. So how does that work, in the Web3?
So what's the model? The model right now is education, actually, to be very
Okay.
honest. Uh, for a Web2 food and beverage industry person, a restaurateur, a chef, a food brand, these people are very new to this space. So it's more about educating them and showing them what the benefit is, because I believe and we believe that we're going to move away from a world of scrolling. You've been scrolling for the last 5 10 years, and then that shift needs to happen where you need to do a more immersive, more in-depth, more interactive marketing format, and that's where the metaverse comes in. So the first step that we are taking towards like incorporating this sector is we've created a play to earn game as such, wherein every product or every Web3 project talks about staking and has set this 3,000% APY, 80,000 APY, and it's all doesn't work in the long run. It's all good in the beginning, and then once the market crashes, everything goes to zero. And what we also understood from like the previous games, like Step In and Axie, creating in-game token and creating a governance token. The governance token goes up, in-game token goes up, and then both crash after that also. So we've kind of like created this game where we created a staking mechanism wherein you stake your tokens, and instead of getting more tokens, you get NFT ingredients. Okay, you need to combine these ingredients to form dishes. So now these dishes are something that we are collaborating with chefs. We partnered with like 8 chefs already around the world, and we're getting their dishes into the game. So maybe a chef has, like, let's just say an example of a chicken soup. Now the chicken soup has 20 ingredients. The user needs to collect those ingredients, combine them to form the chicken soup. Now they can use the chicken soup to play food truck wars between 3 people. You get your dish. Say, let's the theme is China. You get the chicken soup. Someone gets pasta. Someone gets pizza. So what's more related to Chinese is soup. So the person who gets the soup NFT wins, and the other 2 people need to stake their tokens. So there is no giving away of tokens happening in the game. So kind of understand the inflationary matters. Now this this dish can be also connected to the real world, wherein maybe the chef says that, or the food brand or any brand that we work with say that, okay, you can get 1 year free supply of food from this brand. The use case needs to be decided with the brand, but yeah, this is what we want to do, is bring through our game, bring real world utility, and also with the metaverse also bring real world utility. So both about actionable results at the end of the day.
And also, Kayash, what you just said, I think education, when we talk about these new ideas, especially when you're tapping into an industry like food, obviously not much heard of. I mean, I'm listening to this idea where chefs are becoming part of it for the first time. Although I've seen metaverse being made for the DNA, I've seen metaverse being made for, a lot of crazy things. But I think what you just said makes a lot of sense, because edutainment, especially when we're targeting Gen Z, I think Mick will agree that games are for the young generation, so we have to constantly educate, we have to constantly reach out. If you're not educating the new audiences, like in your case it's the chefs, it's the food brands, then you can't possibly give them a chance to become part of the Web3, and this is like the portal for them to enter, right? So
Yep.
I think edutainment, especially, why I think if there is entertainment, then it's just so easy for people to digest new information.
Yep.
I think
Yep.
what you're doing is quite phenomenal. But I had a question, like based on what you just said. How do these chefs then monetize? Because in your case, the creators or the creatives are the chefs, right? They are
Yep.
thinking about
Yep.
new recipes. They are coming to you, and I'm sure most of the people who are listening, they all are foodie one way or other, right? And everyone has like
Yep.
some favorite dishes. So is your idea open to maybe the general public in some form, or is it like an exclusive model
No,
where
it's
you are being very picky about people who come on board? So how does
no,
that work?
it's open to the public to view. So let's just take an example of Farzi Cafe. It's a restaurant that has 9 outlets, primarily in India, but also in Dubai, another country in the Middle East, UK, and the US. Now they have nine outlets. Now you enter their restaurant. In our metaverse, you play a game there, which is maybe like a treasure hunt. You collect an ingredient, collect those ingredients, which is in the treasure hunt, and get a dish which you can redeem at the restaurant. But coming up to revenue and monetization, now how are these brands kind of today, or like brand chefs kind of like monetizing their restaurant or their cookbook? They're selling it through Amazon now, or they're selling it to some online ordering app. Now let's just, these are two middlemen that take 30% of your pie. The blockchain does not want 30% from you. The blockchain just wants transaction fees, that is maybe like zero point 0.5 or 1% of the total value. Now that's where the monetization will happen. It's like selling right from your website, but in a more interactive, more immersive manner. So at the end of the day, they will see the benefit. That's where the education comes into play. You educate them why this is important, why you, if you want to, like today you're on Amazon and you look at a cookbook, you really can't look at,
Yeah.
you can just look at 1 or 2 pages, right? But you can totally interact with, maybe like show the dish, how does it look, what is the chef cooking the dish. So there's so many things that can be done in a more interactive manner, and I feel they will see the monetization aspect of it in the longer run.
And also, Kayash, do you think like NFTs play a huge role when you're talking about this business model? And why I wanted to highlight this question is because obviously we've seen a lot of scams, we've seen huge collections out there, JPEGs, and and randomly choosing, what character you get. And obviously, it's not based on anything because now we see most of the flipping activities that we see when it comes to NFTs. It's now silent, right? So when you're talking about NFTs, and obviously you have a very interesting structure around food, what do you think? Like, is NFTs a huge part of it? Does that allow you, or is it your idea based on crypto? I mean, there are so many questions, but what I'm trying to understand is why it's based on NFTs, and or is it
See, the thing
dependent
is,
on?
I think we are so new into this space that we have kind of like the people who are in it right now have kind of blocked themselves with the idea that NFTs is equal to money making format. We have to step away from it. It is a digital contract that makes you the owner. Now, what this stands for, it could be a pass to a festival, it could mean a entry to a digital enclave, it could be a entry to anything that the brand wants to associate itself with. It could be like, for example, a brand that partners with me says that if you get this NFT, you get 1 year free supply of food. That is
Yeah.
how you can redeem this NFT. It's maybe that has some value. Like maybe if the restaurant is not in India and is in Dubai, and if you want to buy it, yeah, I'll sell it to you. But that flipping thing will die. It's already dead already. But people will understand that we need utility with NFT. So I don't see NFT going anywhere. There will be more rug pulls. I hope there aren't. I've been through few myself, but it's all about understanding what is right and what is wrong
True.
for you.
Yeah. And also,
So like,
Kayash, yeah, sorry.
Can
Yeah,
I
go
ask,
on.
can I ask a
Go on.
question? Can I ask a question, guys? Because you're talking a lot about food. I'm getting hungry. But so
I've not eaten
is it
lunch
related,
also.
is it related like to NFTs slash loyalty points, right? And like a
Could,
connecting like
yep,
creating a bridge, sort of like all this loyalty
yep,
programs of different airlines, or like
definitely.
many loyalty points trying to come together, like and connect in one as a one product, so like they can be interchangeable, intertradable. So if I
Yes.
purchase like an NFT in for a dinner, like an NFT, a voucher for in a restaurant in Delhi, I can use it in a restaurant in New York or Amsterdam or Dubai. Is that the idea? Like, so,
It could be a possibility, but if that restaurant really exists in Dubai and in India or in Delhi. So for example, that Farsi Cafe has nine outlets. It, if you interact with it and you get an NFT, it will be viable in all locations. So that's what we want to do. We're also looking at restaurants that have multiple chains, like, so that it becomes a global phenomena rather than like a locality form phenomena. We want more, like, so for example, even a Michelin star restaurant, let's take it for example, like, you we create a Michelin star restaurant in our space. You do not get space for the next 6 months, but maybe you are, there's a leaderboard game and a gamification angle to it, and you are on top of the leaderboard after 1 month of playing this game, and you get that NFT which entitles you to a free meal whenever you feel like. And that maybe has 1 year of waiting, or three. There are some Michelin star restaurants that are 3 years of waiting period right now. So that's quite the possibility that you make or you're planning a trip to the US, and you want to
Mhm.
go to a restaurant in that location that you're going to. So you, if that restaurant is there in the metaverse, you can interact and kind of like redeem, get a NFT which you can redeem at the restaurant.
And what's the role of Web3 here? Because I mean, this is possible like with coupons, obviously in Web2, like transparency, so to say,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
accountability. Is that the idea for like food on blockchain?
So the food and blockchain part of it is that
To me, it's very
the
fresh. So I'd love
we
to learn more.
yeah, we kind of like trying to create this whole new marketing channel for these brands. Today, say a restaurant has 25 outlets all over the world. It has 25 Instagram pages, it has 25 Facebook pages to attract to that locality. There's like, for example, Farzi, again I'll take an example. Farzi has outlet in Calcutta, in Delhi, in Bombay, in Bangalore, and in London and in Dubai. So they have 6 Instagram pages. So that means 6 handles to handle by one marketing channel, or maybe 6 different marketing channels. But what if you have one composite place to handle all your marketing efforts in a more interactive, more immersive manner? And that's where the metaverse, blockchain, and food and industry, we want to marry that together.
And also, Kash, another question, because I think this is such an interesting way that you're talking about different branches and where it can be redeemed. And obviously, I've seen past 2 years when it came, I've seen it as a token, like an access point, right? That's all it is, right? It's an access point. But when people are buying your NFTs, or if you're like just airdropping them an NFT based on if they want it or whatever, um, how important it is for you that they should be retaining that NFT and not be flipping it, because I think this is what defines the ultimate success in the long run, right? If people are flipping NFTs just to make a quick buck, then obviously it won't stand a chance, because we've seen that phenomena come and go. So how important it is for you that people retain that, so that they think, oh, if we retain this NFT, then in the future this is going to give us access to multiple perks associated with their favorite food, their favorite brands, or their favorite chefs. So is that the idea, or is DAO into play when it comes to this model?
So the DAO will come into play when it comes to the gaming layer, where people stake tokens, collect ingredients, combine them to form dishes. That's the part where the DAO will come in. Like, maybe we release one dish per day. Now the DAO can make rules. Okay, let's release 2 dishes per day, but that's related to our gameplay. But say if a brand partners with us in the gameplay of that staking mechanism and create a dish, that can be also related to the metaverse part of it. I cannot stop people from flipping their NFTs, but they need to see what the use case is. If a brand is located in India and you're sitting in Dubai and it has no use case to you, you can set a price for it. And obviously, the NFT has to have some kind of utility to it. What is it? Is it you get to meet a chef, you get to meet Virat Kohli, do you get to go for the World Cup finals? It depends on the gratification of the NFT at the end of the day. If you gratify the consumer in a big manner, for example, we're speaking to a brand in India, a food brand in India. We want to allow them to give the user 1 year free supply of, let's call it chips. Now, if it's 1 year free supply of chips, and I'm not in India, you're in India, I'll sell you the NFT for maybe $100, $200, whatever you feel is right. The flipping, I can't stop, but yeah, it's all about the use case and the utility and the gratification that you provide the consumer at the end of the day.
No, that's perfectly answered. And you know what I've been thinking, because Mick shed the light on a very different art-oriented, initiative, which I can obviously relate more to. But I get to learn more from you because food is something that obviously I consume every day. But I haven't thought of the idea of metaverse associated with food in the way you talked about. So I think our audience must be having a lot of business ideas by now. And even I think the panelists that we have, we can at the end of the day collaborate, because the second thing that I want to come to now is just your views on collaboration and interoperability, because Mick also talked about icons being part of the games and people can access it. Kayash has talked about, just bringing on board people, chefs from around the world, and Michael has been working on the multi-chain DeFi experiences. So I just want to know your views one by one, like how much was the struggle? You can talk about your journey. You just talk about collaboration and interoperability as a whole. So that's we're going to talk about now. So, Mick, you want to start first?
Oh yeah, totally. Well, interoperability is a big thing in blockchain, right? So if you've been here for a while, all the bridges and how do we bridge from EVM compatible chains to non-compatible, from ETH to Solana. I mean, luckily now we've got layer 2 solutions like Polygon. We are very happy with Polygon for by the word of introduction. I mean, they're our investors also. But interoperability and collaboration, I think they're like really, well, they're like such big concepts. And philosophically, if we put it in the context of the metaverse, is to me it boils down to how do we see our future in 5 to 10 years? Do we see our future in one big metaverse that's called Meta, and or we strive to have interconnected metaverses that are built by different people from all over the world, and despite our differences, we are still human beings and share so much common. So, and we are able to connect these metaverses together, and meet there, play, have fun, and so on and so forth. So it really depends on the view, where do we see ourselves and what we want to be happening. Because I do believe as human beings we have lots of power, and this power comes from creativity, from our creative mind, and from what do we want exactly, right? And we all know that Meta has big plans for building their own metaverse, and a huge user base of Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp users. So no brainer that the journey, like for a couple of years, is going to be running in parallel. But where do we end up, and what kind of collaboration we're going to have in 5 years really, really depends on us. We want to see a multi-diverse, multi metaverse world in 5 to 10 years,
True.
with a real diversity in place. And yes, for the time being, it's difficult to have a seamless cross chain experience, but it's changing. And it's not like 2017 where it was almost impossible. Folks are building amazing bridges, amazing products to connect all different chains in one wallet, in one SDK. So as a developer, you don't need to think like, hey, so like how do I connect Solana and how do I connect EVM compatible chains or layer 2 ETH solutions in to my product. So it's getting easier and easier and easier. And we know Polygon is now connected to Instagram. So, well, I put my I
I
delivered
won't.
my part of the speech.
No, I think
Uh,
you've given like an overarching, I view, so which was necessary. So, Michael, what do you think? Because obviously I still don't understand much about your industry as such, but maybe you can talk about collaboration, how how much it's accessible for a general audience, and like how do we see interoperability in your industry,
I
Web3,
will
obviously.
give you a use case to make sense of the collaboration I have in mind. Imagine that I live in London. I came to say India next weekend. I tried to catch me to go from one place to another and order Uber. Think of it this way: my Uber account is connected to my British pound account. But when I pay the driver in India, the Uber app pays them in rupees, not in pounds. So somewhere in there, there is an FX happening, abstracted away by the Uber application. So what we do with Ethersport, we support, I think, at least around 15 EVM chains plus Arbitrum, Nova, Optimism, so that any dApp from any of them can source liquidity. Say if you have a dApp, by integrating a little widget with 2 lines of code, you can automatically allow someone from Phantom on your dApp, which is on Polygon, to stake, abstracting away the bridging and all the steps that involve about 9 signatures. So this is collaborating with the bridging aggregators, the integrating DEXs, and all those intermediaries you would need for your decentralized system to work. So this is a result of collaboration.
Exactly.
But without this collaboration and without abstracting the complexities, we're not going to get anywhere. As I've said to you with the Uber example, if Uber did say to me, oh, you're in India now, so all you have to do is we've listed 5 exchanges for you to exchange British pounds to rupees, I would have said, heck with this thing. I would just use a normal taxi.
Yeah.
So we cannot persist with the way we have it right now and become irrelevant. At the same time, if I'm playing, I go to a games aggregator and play a few games, one is connecting to Ronin, the other one is connecting to Polygon, the other one is connecting to Gnosis Chain. As a user, you should not expect me to go and do network switch, effectively log in to every game that I connect with. It is just, as a user, that's not an experience I want. In fact, when I go and select things, think of Amazon. I can go and add things to the shopping cart. Then I can go and search for another thing. Oh yeah, I found another item and add it. In the Web3 world, I would be asked effectively to log back in because I'm connecting to another network. It cannot happen. So interoperability, collaboration is the way to go. And in the past 5 years, a whole lot of collaborations have happened. When you talk about DeFi, how did DeFi come? The smart contracts. And when you look at GameFi, what is it built on? Building on the constructs of DeFi and the Axis, etc., popularized play to earn. Then people realized that, okay, there is fault with play to earn. How do we make it play and earn? Because the play part has to be bigger than the earn part. And how else do we make it? Play and own, play to own. So you play to own. So effectively what Kayesh is sort of intimating is play to own kind of thing as well, because with the recipe and that type of angle. So collaboration is key. Interoperability is key. And
I love that example, Michael. So, and Kayash, I would like to know your views also on collaboration and interoperability. And I think we still have 5 to 6 minutes. So let's just know your views and then we'll go towards the wrap up.
I think this space only needs more and more collaboration. Obviously, the bad players need to go, and it's all the good players who are building during the bear market. We call it the build market. Keep building and keep kind of like collaborating with other Web3 projects. Yes, we do partner with Web2 projects, which is kind of a slow process, but Web3, we partnered with close to 45 projects where we kind of like, if any character has this whole the idea of growing, breeding, developing, or power ups or boosters requires some kind of element of food. And we become their food partners and create NFTs for them, which kind of have some use case or some utility in their game, either of power ups, boosters, and or either growing. So like we've already done that in PUBG and in other games where you have a Red Bull can and then you get some power. We wanted to do that, so we partner with a lot of projects. Interoperability is something that will happen. Right now, we are stuck to the Polygon chain, and we really like it. It is very easy, but there are ways. And what Mikel said was that there are a lot of steps for a user to finally come to your product. First, he needs to buy his crypto from his national exchange, which is CEX in the country of his staying. Then transfer it to the MetaMask. Then from the MetaMask, then maybe swap it from Uniswap. There's so many steps, but
So
slowly and steadily, yeah, people and brands are realizing that these steps need to be reduced to maybe just one. And there are projects that I just recently bought a music NFT like a day or two, or like a week back, where I just need to give my credit debit card details. Even how like Polygon did it, which was that they didn't call it an NFT, they called it a digital collectible. You had Crossmint as an application to kind of directly buy the NFT or digital collectibles from the website, and the owners didn't know this is an NFT. Like people were telling someone that, hey, do you know how much do you buy this for? Like $20 or $30. You know this is worth $1,000 right now. He's like, what? How is this worth $1,000? I do not know this. So like people didn't know about it, but like you need to convince them in their own way. So
yeah,
there's
we
a lot
have
of
to.
things that are happening.
There has to be different ways, because like you said, I think this is one of the major takeaway for me personally, that edutainment, like the education has to go hand in hand. If you can educate them, you have a client, you have a lead, it's as simple
Yeah.
as that. I think the same rules apply of the web 2 in the web 3. There's nothing new, it's the same economy, same industry, growing and learning new things. So I would like to know, like, the final remarks, and where do you guys see yourself with such interesting projects? Where do you guys see yourself, like, taking, what are the next steps? Where do you guys see yourself in the next 5 years? So maybe just 2 lines from each one of you, and we can then wrap up. I would love to know, like, what's the next thing. You want to go first, Meg?
Sure. Well, thanks again for this opportunity. And where do we see ourselves in 5 years? Well, as I mentioned, we see our metaverse crypto flourishing, millions of satisfied, happy citizens of our cities that put their creativity and skills to good use, meaning that they earn by not only playing but doing different activities, having a good time, and first and foremost happy. A more interconnected world, less split world, where Web3 plays a great
Great.
role,
Wow.
and Rebel Labs being a big part of it, building
Michael,
and
what
other
about
products
you?
for love.
Yeah, we see ourselves playing a big part in abstracting away the complexities for any cross-chain connectivity. Anyone going with any cross-chain activity, you should not have to go through this pain that you go through right now. So we want to
Amazing.
get rid of that.
And you, Kayash, what do you think? 2 lines
Uh,
from
I
you.
just I just want to be the project you think about food on Web3 should just be one red and nothing else.
Amazing. No, I think we had such interesting discussion, and this could go on and on. But yeah, I thank you all for joining in today, and for this lovely conversation we had made, Kayash and Michael. And yeah, it was a lovely discussion. But thank you so much, and we'll definitely carry this conversation forward. So take care
Th-
and bye.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day. Bye. Bye.